Hey, this is Kevin Kraft. I want to thank everybody for joining me on my first Zoom call that I've actually hosted. So this is pretty remarkable for me, being a technophobe that I am. But it's a pleasure to talk with Mr. Todd A Thompson, who is actually he's actually the voice, the narrator for the upcoming Audible for Doboro the Bottlenecker and the follow-up, Long Way from Paradise. I was so impressed with his audition and the work that he did on Doboro the Bottlenecker that I quickly signed him up for Long Way from Paradise because I wanted to keep that. I wanted to keep him for that. Todd, it's a great to finally meet you and see you face to face. Everything.
Thank you, Kevin. You too. Absolutely. Yes, I've wanted to see the face behind the words, and
exactly. And I want to say I really appreciate the work you've done on Doboro the Bottlenecker, which will be released shortly after we record this interview. Actually, so
I hope so. We're waiting for it. Yeah,
I'm excited. I really am. I think people are really going to enjoy it. I know I enjoyed it. The process of listening to the work you did, and it was exciting. You know, 'cause I'm kind of jaded when it comes to my own work. You know, I read it over and over again, and while I enjoy it, you know, I'm used to it. But to actually hear somebody, you know, read it and tell the story, and you know, that was exciting. You know, and I found myself moved at times. Like, wait a minute, I mean, I wrote this, I shouldn't be moved.
exactly. I should be surprised.
But you did a great job. You're a very effective reader. I love what you did, and I thank you for your work and your dedication to it.
Thank you for your kind words. It was a pleasure, and it became a project of love. I've came to really get to love the characters, and really it affected me in many ways. So
thank you. That's very kind of you to say. Okay, so let's assume that nobody knows who you are or knows anything about you. Tell us about Todd A Thompson. Tell us how long have you been producing audiobooks, and how'd you got into the business?
Well, not very long, to be frank, and all that even amplifies my appreciation of you taking a chance on me and involving me with this project, because I literally just joined this past summer, or got into it. After 30 plus years in customer service in the music industry, sheet music specifically, dealing with teachers and other musicians and students for supplies and educational materials and things like that. If you kind of do the math, schools get shut down, music programs get shut down, music budgets get shut down, and therefore music stores get hit hard. And so so yeah, I was officially laid off at the end of June, and just had to kind of regroup and take another evaluation of where I am and what I wanted to do. And my whole life, my whole adult life, I've been an actor in the amateur things. And I've been on the phone all those 30 years at the music store, and people would often compliment my voice or something like that. And I've always dreamed about being on a radio or voiceovers or something like that. And so that was my first thought. And so I bought this little cheap microphone right here, and converted my daughter's former walk-in closet to a little studio booth, and just gave it a shot. And I've got to commend ACX. I mean, for all the things you can say about Amazon and taking over the world and things like that, ACX is really an amazing platform for guys like you who have written the books, and need a narrator, and guys like me who think they want to do it, to be able to collaborate and find each other in a situation like this. So I just jumped on there and got one pretty quickly back in August, and a couple more came along, and you are number 6 and number 7.
Oh, great. Yeah. So you've done about what, 7, 8 books now, or?
Yes, I've had 8. I've had 7 authors give me 8 books. So
Okay.
you're two of those, obviously.
Okay. Well, I'm honored then. That's
So
great.
yeah. Yeah.
So,
And go ahead.
I was saying, can you describe the process that you go through when it comes to producing an audiobook?
Well, I wish I had what could be called a formal process, but I. Are you saying once I get the offer? I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
No, okay.
Once you're hired by an author, what do you do?
I it depends on the book. A novel, you want to go ahead and read on ahead to be sure that you're going the direction that the things are going. I've had a couple of books that are just kind of memoir type books, and frankly, I just sight read those pretty much. I just get in and do it. But the novels, you want to be familiar with the characters before you start, and maybe not go all the way to the end to see if there's a surprise ending or something. But I wish I could say I read every word before I step in the booth, and I don't. But I do try to read ahead and be familiar. Anyway, I just get in here, and I guess I depend a little too much on my own, a little too much faith in my own acting and sight reading ability. So, another thing that's helped is that through the year, I have 3 adult children, but through the years, I would read to them rather lengthy things, bedtime. As they got older, we got into C.S. Lewis, Chronicles of Narnia, and of course the good old Harry Potter series, and things like that. And so I developed a few voices and tried to make it good for them. So that's about all the experience I have, frankly. But anyway, so yeah, it's about if I record about an hour in a session, it's going to take 4 or 5 hours then to go edit that. So
Okay.
at least a day per hour of finished audio on that. And then we get together with the author and be sure he's happy, and I guess that's about the extent of if you're going to call it a process, that's about the extent of it.
Okay. Yeah, sounds pretty involved. Do you find it gets easier as you do it? And let me ask you this first. Did you have to like study or anything how to do an audiobook, or did you just kind of jump into it and just do it?
Well, again, ACX is really good. They have all kinds of resources, especially what they require. They have certain requirements that you have to meet with the audio, and they have all kinds of videos and tutorials and forums, between narrators that you can get on and get details on. But yes, I did spend probably a month as I was hemming and hawing and buying the equipment that I needed and padding my booth up and getting things ready and just learning some of those details. But once you've got those in place, you should be able just to, it's not like you have to reset it every time because your booth is the same, your equipment is the same. You should be able just to jump in and go again. But I lost my train of thought there. So,
well, let me ask you, what do you love most about producing audiobooks?
I think just the acting, just getting into the characters. I've been an amateur actor in community theater and things like that in the past, and a singer. When I went to college, I thought I was going to be a music minister. So I've been on stage a lot, nothing professional, but that I think is the best part. The editing can get pretty monotonous, and you sit there at your laptop and listen to your own voice for hours on end, and of course you're making mistakes and these big ugly breaths and whatever else comes out of your mouth. You've got to go in and get rid of all that. So that gets a little tedious. So yeah, definitely the time in the booth, trying to get into the characters, get some excitement, and just the different emotions up and down. And yeah, definitely that.
Mm-hmm. I think you answered my next question about the biggest challenges to audiobook producing. Have you ever been hired to produce a book that you absolutely hated for one reason or another? Don't name names, but
yeah. I wouldn't say hated, but I have had one book out of the just the few that I've had since the summer. I had one book where the author's writing style kind of made me go, really? Is that really what you wanted? Okay, well we'll do it. And you do it. And it wasn't awful. He was a pretty good writer, but everything was superlative or hyperbole. Or the example I've given my family is one character says, guys, we got to do better next time. And then the narrator says, he stated as an ultimate vow. So he was like, no, that wasn't an ultimate vow, but okay. But then as you get into it and you start to think, well, maybe he meant this to be kind of campy. And I never asked him. Mm-hmm. I should have. I played it pretty straight, thinking, he's going to get what he wants, what he's going to get. And he's going to tell me if he doesn't like it. And he liked it. So, so that was interesting.
Just got to go with it.
Yeah. And once you got into the characters, it was the ultimate experience or something.
That's good. Did you ever receive a project where you received it and you're just like, no way. No, I can't do this for whatever reason.
No, you can usually tell from the audition or from the materials that they put out. You do a little bit of research on every book that you might audition for. So I can tell pretty quickly if the audition script is just poorly written or hypersexualized or something, something you can just, you can usually weed those out. And this one book that I mentioned had, out of 7 hours, I don't know how many words that is, 65,000 word something. There was one word that, had I known was in there, I might have given it a second thought about whether it was, but I was in there, and this good old Baptist deacon had to say this one word that that he would normally, anyway. So I do try to look. If I think there's going to be scenes in there that I'm not interested in talking about or voicing or situation, anyway. But usually you can tell from the audition. So. Okay. I've been lucky in that regard. So
that's good. Yeah, I can imagine I'd be if I were a producer, I'd probably be worried about when's that first project going to come. When I
oh, definitely.
How to give it the shaft,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How did you like working on Doboro the Bottlenecker? Tell me about that. Feed my ego.
That's the thing. I know I'm talking to the author and I'm going to say what he wants to say, but no, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really did. I loved getting into the characters. I love the bad guys. That was fun. The fight scenes. I'd never done a fight scene before.
You did them very well. You really did well.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I guess being fun makes it easy to do better, I think, maybe. And I have 2 daughters, and so the relationship between Doboro and Mackenzie, and when he slipped, I don't know if I want to give too much of a spoiler, but when he slips up and calls her Mackenzie towards the end, and she realizes, the revelation is there. It's just, I had to do that 4 or 5 times. That just wiped me out. It just really did.
Great.
So, yeah. So I'm really looking forward to getting into into the next one.
Oh, good. Well, the next one should be a lot easier. There's not as many, not as many foreign terms or accents to worry about it. So
that was another thing, and I think that was a good challenge for me to try to do that. So
good.
yeah.
Good. Well, excellent. Excellent. Can you let us know what you're working on next?
Well, not so much. Next is long way from paradise, but right now, and I hope by right now I mean literally in the next day or two, I will finish a book called To Kill a Saint, and it's a crime murder mystery, but it's written by a man, a Christian man that's the executive director of something called True Freedom Ministries in Cleveland, Ohio, that ministers to the incarcerated population and the homeless and the addicted population there in Cleveland. But he has some experience with incarceration himself from his younger days. And so he had a lot of background there from that. But again, there's some gruesome, crime scene depictions, excuse me. But nothing I was uncomfortable with narrating, and there's wonderful romance in there, and it's been a lot of fun too. So
very good. Very good. All right. Thanks for your kind words about Dobro. That makes me feel good, and I'm glad you enjoyed the process. It's
absolutely.
So that's great.
No.
And again, I really love what you did. I really do. It was.
I'm so excited to see when it comes out, so I can start telling my circle right now is pretty limited with, but my online circle is not huge, but I'm looking forward to spreading the word when it comes out. So,
me too. I hope your circle gets big.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
fills in with people.
Right.
Do you have a website people can learn more about you at?
I do. It's brand new, and I didn't bring my notes, but it is, if I get it right, it's Todd A Thompson .voice, VOICE, at Wix. I believe yours is Wix as well. So it was one of those real very basic websites that you can create on Wix, WIX, but should be able to find it from that, I think. So
okay, great. Well, I'll definitely add a link to the video that we post so they can know where.
Thank you. I'll send you the actual get it right, and you can post it. That'd be great. Thanks.
Okay, cool. And so this has been great. This has been great to hear, to see you, and to meet face to face finally, and get to talk to you personally. Great job on Doboro the Bottlenecker. Looking forward to Long Way from Paradise, and the third book is on its way. I should have that written, and it should be, actually, we're looking for it at a spring release. So
awesome.
I may kick that over to you when I get it ready for the Audible and everything too. So,
I would be honored. Absolutely.
I'm honored to have you, man. All right, this is Kevin M. Kraft with Todd A. Thompson, the voice behind Doboro the Bottlenecker, the Audible. So look forward to that with me, and that'll be coming your way soon. Thanks, Todd, for your time and your friendship and your work, and we'll do it again, all right?
Absolutely. Thank you, Kevin.
All right, thanks, man.